Thank you for watching Conscious Consumer Network. The live stream broadcast is free to view. You can pause and rewind live broadcasts to catch up, or view shows at a later date by accessing our free archives of all shows. Check out our broadcast guide to see what's on. You can show your support by donating to our network support fund. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, or subscribe to the monthly newsletter for updates. We thank you for supporting free and independent media.
Hello and welcome everyone to We Are the Ones We've Been Waiting For on Conscious Consumer Network. I'm your hostess Eilish Diavalon, and with us today we have Jeremy Martin, who's got an absolutely incredible story. Jeremy is a member of Anonymous, and he's had a harrowing background, and in particular what is happening right now with whistleblowers is that many of them who are coming out are being discredited, as we know with Julian Assange and the harsh punishments with Chelsea Manning. But also, Jeremy is just one of many people I know who are whistleblowers who have actually been targeted by the medical and the prison establishment in this kind of merry-go-round of psychiatric evaluation when we're actually telling the truth. If they can't arrest you, they'll try and medicate you. So I noticed Jeremy's posting on Facebook the other day, a very big distress call that went out, and a mutual friend of ours had put it on his wall. And Jeremy, at the time, you were quite suicidal, and that caused a big concern for me, particularly, then reading into your history and what has led up to these events. So if you would please, just for the viewers, if you could tell us a bit about your background with Anonymous and put things into context of why you've become a targeted individual, being locked up against your will in psychiatric institutions. I'd be really, we'd be really interested to hear that. So thank you and welcome, and thanks for being so brave too, because I know you're going through a hard time at the moment. And this is what I wanted to also share with viewers as well. If anyone could, this is a bit of a shout out, if anyone could help Jeremy as well. So thank you and welcome for coming on to the show. Tell us a little bit about the events that led up to how you were feeling the other day when you posted that status.
Thank you. There's a long story here. I was very distressed and suicidal the other day because I've been extensively tortured and I'm effectively on the run, and if they catch me they will do horrific things to me again. So some background. A long time ago, I was experimented on by the government, with medical experiments at a time when I was vulnerable. I had a skin problem, and I was used by a skin specialist as a guinea pig, and I just went downhill from there. I was used for extreme doses of vitamin A. The reason why we know today that we can't have extreme doses of vitamin A is that it's dangerous for you, because people like me were experimented on, and I almost died from that. I developed psoriasis all over my body, extreme pain, fatigue and nausea. I was practically bedridden, and I became suicidal because I could no longer function. I had lost my whole life. I slowly lost contact with all my friends. I was too sick to do anything. And it was at that time where I decided that I would use what little I had left to try and make the world a better place. I didn't have any hope for myself. I wanted to make the world a better place for others. Now, there was one person who inspired me, and if you were to read my 4-hour movie of my life story, then you will understand how much that person means to me, and that she inspired me to effectively change the world. I started a random act of kindness movement. That's how I started the random act of kindness movement. From there it grew into vigilantism as well. You can't change the world just through kindness, just through random acts of kindness and spreading what I used to call random acts of kindness chains, where I help you and then someday someone gets to help someone else, and no one is allowed to know about it. But you can't change the world just by doing that. You also have to stop bad people who will not stop doing bad things, because there are a lot of very bad people in this world who will not stop. I got caught up in this big FBI investigation that involved what I was doing that happened in the year 2000 and 2001 in the lead up to 9/11. This was an investigation of the internet. The FBI were instructed to perform an investigation of the internet, to observe the internet for 4 topics: cyberbullying, terrorism, child exploitation, and online bullying. Those were the 4 topics that they were investigating. 9/11 happened during the end of this investigation, and a lot happened. There was a lot of whistleblowing within the FBI regarding the change of power structure in the FBI, how it became more centralized. The director of the FBI even complained about it, and on national TV to make that complaint. And I won't go with the details. If you want to see the details, you can watch my movie. It's in my world. Name's Tarrant. So what all the work I was doing, the vigilantism and stuff like that, people within the intelligence community who got tied to the stuff I was caught up because I was an administrator of chat networks and all this kind of stuff. I was taking down bad guys and doing a lot of good. A lot of people in the intelligence community saw me as living their dream. People join up to the intelligence in the intelligence field thinking that they're going to be a hero, that they're going to save the world and be a James Bond or something like that. But unfortunately, they get stuck with a dead-end just desk job serving questionable agendas. So when they saw me doing what I was doing, I was basically doing what they wanted to do, and so they became very fond of me, and they shared information with me, and we worked together. And it was especially within the FBI, the other intelligence agencies as well, but it was mainly the FBI that I worked with under the table to take down some bad people. So I had access to information. And it wasn't just the intelligence community. After that investigation, the internet was almost shut down. I don't know if you remember, but a lot of people who were active internet users at the time will remember the dark ages of the internet, where in the early 2000s, that big FBI investigation happened. The internet was this close to being shut down. It was because of that. That was the investigation I'm talking about. It's not talked about much these days because of everyone's so focused on everything else. But the internet was almost shut down, and social networking took a nosedive. Chat networks systematically shut themselves down. Everyone was too scared to host social media because they were scared of getting sued by the US government for the 4 topics I mentioned before. So Facebook appeared after that, when there was dark ages, after the dark ages of social media, where there was a vacuum, and that's why Facebook's so big today. It came out of the vacuum. But anyway, with all the vigilante work I was doing in the random act of kindness movement stuff I was doing, I'm going to say a very big claim here. I am the original founder of what is known today as Anonymous. I use the name Anonymous. I prefer not to use a name at all, but when I use a name, I prefer to be called Anonymous. There's a coding community tied to this as well. It's all in the movie. It's explained in better detail. I started a lot of movements and things back in the day, in the early 2000s, and when 9/11 happened and that investigation fell on its head, there was a lot of dissent within governments, especially the US government, and what happened was towards the end of the FBI investigation after 9/11, the FBI were now instructed not to investigate the internet. They were basically told to hack, crack and corrupt every network to prove the government's agenda that the internet was not a safe place, that there were no safe places. And if there was one safe place on the internet left standing, then that would prove the case to defend internet freedom. And my network was that one last standing place that survived their attempts to crack. And I managed to survive their attempts because of leaks from within the FBI of incoming attacks. But at the end of all that, I was seen as a hero because what I did was the one thing that stopped the bullet that would have led to a military-backed takeover of the internet, policing of the internet. So I was seen as a hero by a lot of people back in the day. Like it was a build up over 2 years of hard work before that anyway, and there was a lot of reputation that I was built up for doing what I was doing, and a lot of fans and a lot of separate movements that I started. After all that happened, a lot of people were in shock and they're in admiration of what I did. They began meeting each other. They found each other from these different groups, and they wanted to track down the guy who started it all, which was me. I know it's a lot to say, but it's all true. So they began finding each other, and I wanted to track down the guy who started it all. And eventually they did track me down, and they found a lot of them found each other along the way. And by the time they found me, there was about 120 total. And that was when we forged me and the 120 of us forged the symbol of Anonymous as we know today. And I've done a documentary describing the symbol and how it was made, called Anonymous Symbolism. If you type in Anonymous Symbolism on YouTube, you can find a popular mirror of that video. But
Jeremy, I just want to interrupt you. We'll include links in the article for people who want to view these videos for backup, because I think it's really important just for people to get some context that, you're saying that you're the founder of Anonymous before it was known as Anonymous, that became Anonymous, and that you become a targeted individual, and the internet has had quite a difficult relationship with social networking and whistleblowers, and the authorities and the alphabet agencies, they've been targeting people like yourselves for well before and since 9/11, but particularly around then, as you were saying. So we'll include the links for that for people that for context. So thank you. Keep going, love. You're doing really well.
Thank you. So we forged the symbol, and it wasn't long after we forged the symbol. Actually, I should back up a second. Before we used the symbol, a lot of us, including myself, were using the suit symbol. It was made by a third party who spoke to me and others. They weren't actually an anon at the time, but they were a fan, and they drew that for us. So before the symbol there was a suit, but that's explained in the video that I made regarding that anyway. So we made the symbol, and it wasn't long after that two of them in fact, decided to do the 4chan thing. They actually first started on a Japanese image board. They tested the idea by recruiting on a Japanese image board, and they had a lot of success. So they brought that back to the group, which we called Consensus, with the idea of bringing it to 4chan. Now, I wasn't a fan of 4chan. It's a cesspool of the internet, but they thought it was a good idea to, everything was posted as anonymous. So I thought, hey, it's similar, so let's use this as a way to reach out to the world and share with the world what we're doing, because I was so inspired by this thing. But I wasn't in favour of doing the 4chan thing, because I didn't want degenerates corrupting what I had started. But I eventually conceded it on the grounds that I would have to intervene if things got out of hand, and I did a few times, especially with the Scientology thing. I intervened there, but anyway, so once they did the 4chan thing, I backed off. I went my own way, and I started doing. I kept doing what I was doing, but I did it alone, and I didn't do it as a group. I just went back to doing things as I did alone. Now, during that time, I had interactions with what became WikiLeaks. Now, I met Julian Assange once in IRC. Mutual contacts were talking about both of us, and we were doing similar things along the same lines of similar things. So they wanted us to work together. Basically, I'm the one who had all the reputation and moral support, and people leaked information to me, but they didn't leak information to Julian Assange. They wanted access. I had access, so that's why they wanted us to work together. It turned out that Julian, all he wanted was my contacts, my methods, and my secrets. He wasn't interested in the ways of Anonymous, the principles of Anonymous. And at the time, I wouldn't say so much now, but at the time, he had too much of an ego for my liking, and we eventually agreed not to work together. But after our meeting, members of his group came to me and said that I was right about everything, and that they would try, even if it takes years, they would try to convince him. So basically, there were anons in WikiLeaks before they took on the name WikiLeaks. Now, I had some involvement in the creation of WikiLeaks. Now, Julian Assange would not know this, and I don't know if any of the current WikiLeaks employees, whatever you want to call them, contributors, know about this. But because I had access, now during the Iraq and Afghanistan war, because I was under the table, I was unofficial, people could leak stuff to me safely and know that I was one of the good guys, and that I would do right with what they would give me. And it was safe to give me this information. A lot of people gave me a lot of footage of things that went wrong in Iraq and Afghanistan, but mostly it was Iraq. And there was a big thing about helicopter footage. Now, I'm trying not to say too much information. I don't want to. Basically, people involved in Iraq regarding the helicopter scenarios of shooting civilians and all that, were giving this footage to me and showing me they had no one else to give it to. They didn't want to give it to anyone else. They didn't trust anyone else. And some of it was really grainy, but you know, it showed that they were shooting civilians and stuff like that. Now, if you know that the helicopter footage that I would say that the helicopter footage is what made WikiLeaks famous. There was other stuff before that, but it was the helicopter footage that was released on stage. Now, there was a lot of helicopter footage that I was given to, and I kept referring them to Julian Assange and his crew, because despite the fact that we didn't want to work together, I tried to help. I wanted them to succeed in what they were doing, and I kept getting the leakers trying to get the leakers to give stuff to Julian Assange and his crew, and eventually that happened. But there's more explained in my Lost Story movie, but that's the gist of it. I helped get leakers to give stuff to WikiLeaks before they became WikiLeaks. So from there, I got really sick. I almost died. I went basically. I basically disappeared. I lost most of my contacts. I was too sick. I just withdrew for a while, and I did come back after a couple of years. I came back, and I was doing what I was doing again, but I almost always worked solo. I didn't work as a group like Anonymous and to promote themselves as I work solo. Now, there's the one person who inspired me to do what I did and change the world came back into my life, and she was the reason why I had to go public in 2013, and there's a long story to that. It's in my Karen movie. But in 2013, I had to go public about anonymous, about a lot of the work that I had done in secret, a lot of things. I went public with my whole life story. When I went public, I knew that what might happen. I knew that I might get targeted by the Australian government, perhaps other governments. And
sorry, Jeremy, just to interrupt, why did you decide to go public with Anonymous, being that Anonymous is a collective of people, you know, like from the 4chan community and what you were saying before, and, you know, what was the reason that you decided to come out?
I got screwed over really bad, and there are a lot of lies going on, and I wanted the one who inspired me to change the world to know the truth. And I wanted Anonymous to know the truth about where it started, how it started, what Anonymous really stands for, and I promised, back when we made the logo, I promised that I would return one day from the shadows and make it right, because I warned them that if they went to 4chan like this, it will become corrupted, and you're going to get a generation of lost and confused people who want to change the world, but they're half-cured trolls, basically. They want to change the world for the better, but they want to be a dickhead at the same time. They don't know which side to stand on.
Yeah.
So I had to fulfill that promise, and since I had to go public anyway to get the truth out and clear my name of a lot of lies, I had to do it all at the same time. There are multiple reasons why I wanted the one who inspired me to change the world to know the truth, that I did it all for her. I wanted Anonymous to know where Anonymous came from, how it happened, and what it really stands for and what it doesn't stand for. And I needed to fulfill my promise. And I was at my wit's end. I had to get the truth out. So I did it. I knew that I might be targeted. I wanted to do it in such a way that I wouldn't draw too much attention. Unfortunately, because I went public with my whole life story, that includes child abuse that I experienced. And my family didn't like me talking about that. In fact, they bullied me my whole life to keep me quiet about it. And because I went public, they reported me to mental health to discredit me. That is the worst thing you can do with someone that is trying to go public about things like this. You do not call mental health to discredit someone. My mother made up a lot of lies about me, saying I was doing all these horrific things to get me locked up and silenced by any means possible. In fact, they themselves were horrified at my mother's story. They knew that she was lying. But once you report someone to mental health, it's too late. All you need is a false report, and they kidnap you and they drug you and they put you on what's called a CTO, where they drug you for at least 6 months. Now, I was extensively tortured, and that's all my movie too. My mother reporting me to mental health, not just mental health, but police as well, put me on the radar of the government. So the initial mental health reports were dismissed. Unfortunately, my mother kept making these reports over and over again, and she kept reporting me to police over and over again. So the government became aware of me and my story. It took them a few weeks, but they looked into my story, they realised who I was, they panicked, and they began harassing me every day. Now, this was not just the police force, it was Housing New South Wales as well, working in tandem with the New South Wales police force, harassing me every day. Everyday police visits at gunpoint, threatening to arrest me for things I've never done, trying to frame and trap me. This is every day, setting thugs on to me. It eventually started setting thugs on me to harass and attack me. I began recording it in desperation, the harassment that I was experiencing in desperation. And that is when the police panicked even more. That's when I was eventually kidnapped and taken to psychiatry.
Can you tell me what year that was, Jeremy? Because I know that there's been a consistent campaign of arresting anonymous members, and they've been arrested in the US, the UK, Australia, Netherlands, Spain, India and Turkey. Many of your clients have been targeted as a result.
Yeah, this was 2014, early 2014. So I was kidnapped by psychiatry. Now, I was kidnapped by psychiatry, taken there for 6 weeks, in prison for 6 weeks, extensively drugged and put on a community treatment order where they drugged me for 6 months. I was in extreme pain, and I have a compilation HD2 is the name of the video, a compilation of what they did to me. I quote from them. We're medical professionals, we don't need evidence. They did this to me without any evidence. Now, in the end of the day, they made up all these accusations against me. At the end of the day, all they could come up with was that I believed a girl might have had feelings for me. That was my mental illness. Let me repeat that. I supposedly believed the girl might have had feelings for me. That was my mental illness. That was justification for drugging me for 6 months and imprisoning me for 6 weeks.
And they didn't mention your work with Anonymous at all, Jeremy?
Not at first, but during my imprisonment, they began interrogating me about the FBI. They wanted to know who I'd been talking to and who I was in contact with. They were very careful about what questions to ask. They were scared of me, and they told me that they were intimidated by me, and that they actually told me that they wanted to dumb me down with drugs and conform me into something that they could work with. Did you understand what that?
Yeah. So they wanted to make you more malleable and open to manipulation and programming, and perhaps even rerouting your purpose. It sounds very nefarious, and definitely Anonymous's secrecy and has been breached, but also members such as yourself have come forward. Others have been arrested. Up to 20 members, I believe, have been arrested all around the world as a result of this. This is not just about, Julian Assange and Chelsea and Manning. This is this is much bigger. It's terrible what's happened to you, Jeremy, and how you've been targeted and drugged and imprisoned and put on these community orders that you're forcibly medicated. It's a complete violation of human rights, and your family hasn't helped at all, because you mentioned before that you had some abuse and trauma from your childhood as well. So not having the support from your immediate family, it's very unfortunate that the community has kind of let you down as well. Because fast forwarding, and I'd like you to continue your story, but just for the moment, fast forwarding to today, you're in quite a vulnerable place where you're feeling unsupported, and because your connections have been international, you haven't so much nurtured the Sydney community, but if we can, anybody that's connected to anyone in Sydney who respects the work of Anonymous and Jeremy himself, you know, would be encouraged to contact us at Conscious Consumer Network, and we could forward Jeremy's details on if you could help in some way, because what you're going to be doing is just revealing even more about how you've been targeted and the lack of support you've received. So yeah, continue if you like, Jeremy. It's a very harrowing story. So this has been going on for a few years now.
3.5 years. 3.5 years. The thing with me is I need to explain the situation here that goes with how they target whistleblowers. They will try and they'll try and frame you for anything they can. If you've committed a crime such as DDoS attacking, they'll put you away for 10 years. But I don't do things. I'm a white hat, not a black hat. They have no kind of pin on me. They've tried and tried to set me up. They set bugs onto me to attack me, trying to get me to respond back and frame me for assault. They've been doing that for 3.5 years, but I never fought back. I just recorded it for 3.5 years, and all the police visits and everything. So they have no crime they can pin on me. That's when you become really dangerous. If they can't put you away in prison for a crime, they'll pull the psychiatry card on you. And when you're alone and vulnerable like someone like me, and especially if you have a mother who false reported you to psychiatry, guess what's going to happen? So as I said, in 2014, what they did to me was they drugged me for 6 months for believing that a girl might have had feelings for me. In the end of that, I had a friend come with me to these people who were doing this to me, and eventually they confessed to my friend, and I have this on record, that they confessed that it was all nonsense. It was all bullshit. Everything that they were doing was all nonsense. They accidentally confessed to him, and I have a recording of that somewhere, and I have a recording of him confessing that they confessed to me. Unfortunately, he was my best friend, and he is since deceased. So this happened in 2014, where I was extensively tortured. Now, I never recovered from what was done to me. My body was falling apart after what was done to me. I knew that I had to reach out to Anonymous and fulfill my promise, and I didn't know if I had much time left because my body was falling apart from what psychiatry did to me. And this is all described in my current video. But
yeah, and that's part of your testimonial in those videos.
Yeah.
So we can include those links for people who want to want more information on the torture and symptoms you're still experiencing to this day.
Yeah. I was extensively tortured in 2014 from the drugs. So in late 2014 and 2016, I started what is known as the Manhattan or the Crayons, a group of anonymous, it was a group of us, to restore Anonymous to its rightful place and its rightful principles. I came with messages to Anons and stirred up a hornet's nest and made a big dent. A lot of people are scared of us, so they think that we're federal agents or something because we're so well organised, and they're not used to being so well organised. They're just they put on a mask and act like fools. Most of them do, but so I tried to fulfil my promise to Anonymous to bring back the old ways, and I did that to a degree, and with the help of my team. And I had to do that while I still had time because I was still being harassed by the government. My body was falling apart. I didn't know how long I had left before I was going to be in prison or whatever, or perhaps kidnapped by psychiatry again, who knows. But I was being harassed to extreme all day, every day. So I did the Manhattan thing, and links will provide some info on that. And then this recent psychiatry episode happened. On the 11th of November 2016, I was cornered. I was framed with a long list of legal orders by Housing New South Wales and the police, all fraudulent. I've been through court case after court case of absolute nonsense. I've hidden camera recordings of these courts showing that they are entirely corrupt. A lot of this stuff is on my Facebook wall. I have a thread covering a lot of it. By the 11th of November 2016, I knew that I could not delay this any longer. I was going to be done. So I reached out publicly to all the mainstream news networks with several gigabytes of evidence, and I publicly uploaded it to all their social media groups and everything, all at the same time on the same day within minutes. An hour later, as expected, the thug attacks outside my home. They had a knife. They were running up and down my stairs, banging on the railing. They were hitting my car with a knife, telling me that if I didn't come out and fight them now, they're going to slit my throat in my sleep. So I stuck my phone on record. I went out, tried to get them to confess this stuff on record. I defended myself non-violently. 15 minutes later, the police came around, charged me for violent crimes I have not committed, and I have the whole recording of everything to prove it. Took me away to the police station, imprisoned me for several hours. I was never questioned. I was charged within 15 minutes of the event without any evidence. I'm on live stream record, offering them proof that I was the one who was attacked, not vice versa, and the police just completely ignore it. So I got out of the police station and I had a court hearing on the 30th of November. Between the 11th of November and the 30th of November, the harassment began, it went off the rails. I started getting mental health threats, phone calls by mental health services, and I've got them on record on my Facebook wall too. I tried to contact the local MP, David Meehan. He reported me to mental health for trying to report government corruption. David Meehan. And I have those recordings as well, the phone calls recorded. So I knew that if I was on the run between the 11th of November and the 30th of November because of the mental health services threats. I knew that if I turned up to the court hearing on the 30th of November, that they might pull the mental illness card on me and kidnap me again. But I had to try. I've always obeyed the law. I've no history of violence or crime of any sort. I turned up. I asked for an adjournment because I was on the run in fear for my life, and I had not had time to access a lawyer, and I had been trying for 3.5 years. I was granted an adjournment. I walked outside the court, outside the court building, and on the inside, still inside the building, on the outside of the court, 4 police officers kidnapped me, took me to psychiatry, to a psychiatric facility, under the very same accusation that I was supposed to go to court for. Apparently, I was for supposedly attacking these thugs that were attacking me, and scaring little old ladies. They accused me of running around with an anonymous mask on, scaring people. I've actually got a screenshot of one of the documents. I'll just show it to you. Look, this is as much documents as I can carry with me. Yeah.
So
I've got,
you've got your documents.
I have two hard drives full of more. I have a problem that I have too much evidence and too much information. So they kidnapped me, took me to a psychiatric facility for doing these horrific things that I did not do. Upon entering the psychiatric facility, they said that I was fine. I did not suffer mental illness. And they said, we'll just check with this consulting psychiatrist first and then we'll let you go. Spin around. Suddenly I'm there for 50 days. They can't make up their mind. I have a list here of the accusations they've made against me to justify my stay there now. They've changed their story over and over. Apparently the initial story has been dumped. So their reason for kidnapping me doesn't matter anymore. They've just happened to have found a magical mental illness. And this is a list of accusations of mental illness. This is pretty much sum up. Okay, list of accusations. 1. Delusions of government persecution. 2. Delusions of being a member of Anonymous. 3. I have been violently attacking my neighbours. 4. I am a threat of harm to myself and others. 5. I am a terrorist who scares the neighbourhood. 6. Threatening other patients in the facility. None of these things are true. 7. Lying. Apparently just lying is a mental illness. 8. Delusions of being chased. 9. White supremacist. 10. Paranoid. They just come up with everything. 11. I care about the world too much. That's a big one. That's what they've got me on. I care about the world too much, and they think that I think too much. I care about the world too much.
So that's now a mental illness?
Yeah, that's a mental illness. Remember, in 2014, what they did to me was because I supposedly believed a girl might have feelings for me. This is ridiculous. 12. My facial expression. They didn't like my facial expression, and that was a mental illness. Well, my facial expression was one of pain from being extensively drugged. Actually, I should mention that in the facility this time, I spent all my time pacing back and forth or rolling around on the floor, screaming in agony, begging for painkillers which they would not give me, saying over and over, I can't handle the pain, I can't handle the pain. Or they sit there and laugh at me, or they lock me in seclusion and laugh at me and just leave me there for hours, rolling around in someone else's urine. This is the kind of treatment I've been given, right? 13. I've been aggressive. Yeah, I'll get to, there's another one there too, but I'll get to. 14. My beliefs make me vulnerable. My beliefs make me vulnerable. 15. General anxiety. Now that one's true, and that's caused by the drugs that they're drugging me with. General anxiety. I suffer extreme anxiety from the drugs that they drug me with. 16. I think about government corruption too much. Yes, I think about government corruption too much.
Right. Okay.
17. This is even worse. 17. I document government corruption too much. I record it too much. Too much recording. That's a mental illness. 18. There's 21 total. I'm almost done. 18. My concerns are real. They're real now. So just scrap everything we've just said. My concerns are real, but they're just a little bit exaggerated, and that's a mental illness. 19. I have an unspecifiable mental illness. I'm just mentally ill. That's it. I'm just mentally ill.
Okay. So an unspecified mental illness. So now they're not even being specific.
Because they can't even come up with they can't come up with anything. And mind you, everyone else in that facility, it's the same thing. There are people that were there for a year for no reason. One guy, he threatened a guy once, and that was justification for him being in there a year and drugged for a year. And another guy was in there because he was talking about aliens. Another guy is in there for a year because he can't get in, because they want him to go to a rehab clinic and he can't get into one. So they're just keeping there indefinitely. several people have been there for a year.
And just in relation to vouching for your sanity, because we have to be discerning here, you have a friend, Chase, who's known you for 10 years, who's come to me privately, vouching for your sanity, and also other friends who've stood by you but maybe overseas and not able to help you on the physical level here in Australia.
Yeah, a lot of my friends are overseas. A lot of people who have gone through all the footage of everything that's been done and know that I'm telling the truth about everything. And they know my sanity. In fact, I'm the one that's kept them sane over the years. And they'll tell you that. Yeah, there's quite a few of them. But Chase Chillers know me the longest of the group. They're my team of the Manhattan that I mentioned before. So I'll just answer two more. Number 20, lashing out at my family with a mental illness. Well, I don't know how that can be because I haven't spoken to them in years, since 2014. But apparently I've been lashing out at my family.
Lashing out at your family. So these are just ridiculous accusations that, I mean, you know, anyone can get their knickers in the knot and get thrown in the psych ward by the sound of it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, anyone can have an issue with their mother or you know, a crush on someone that they work with, and so, you know, if found to be an undesirable individual or in fact a targeted individual, they'll get you on anything.
Anything, absolutely anything.
Yeah.
So here's one last one. My pain isn't real. It's a psychosis needing more drugs. And those drugs that cause the pain.
Like you haven't had enough chemicals being forcibly medicated.
I may not seem it right now, but I'm actually in a great deal of pain and akathisia from being drugged. I've been injected. I was taking 15 to 20 pills a day on top of being injected. I am not in a very good way. I'm in a lot of pain and I'm really struggling here, but I'm just not showing it. But that's just an example of how feeble it is, how you can get into these psych wards. You can just argue with someone, you can disagree with someone and get put, all you have to do is make a false report and bang, they're gone.
One of our broadcasters, Angela Power Disney, one of the people that she was working with from England, had the same thing happen to him, where he was talking about the Hampstead children case and was promptly locked up under forcibly locked up against his will under psychiatric evaluation. These laws that are coming in, you know, forcibly drugging people and trying to silence and discredit people that have been there from the ground up. I mean, your grassroots, you're talking about, you know, 4chan and even before that, how Anonymous came together years ago. So, you know, you're part of the ground crew. And so unfortunately, you know, you're on the target list. And it's not just you, Jeremy. It's been, you know, many people around the world that are sticking their heads out and speaking out against corruption, nefarious activities by, you know, certain members of society. And, you know, in your case, you know, being anonymous, well, there's a big red target on your head, you know. So, yeah, it's been really, really sad what's happened to you. And I applaud your bravery for coming forward, especially under such trying circumstances. So you're currently in a lot of pain right now. Would you be able to tell the viewers what's been going on most recently that's led to you actually not having a home outside of the psych ward and perhaps losing your possessions and ending up homeless and quite vulnerable and in pain right now, that even something as horrible as a psychiatric institution pumping you full of drugs and torturing you almost seems preferable to dying on the street without any medical help?
Okay, so I previously mentioned how I was attacked by thugs in retaliation for going public with two mainstream news networks. The same accusation of attacking these thugs, right? I have imminent charges I'm supposed to go to court over charges of attacking the very thugs who attacked me, and I responded non-violently, and I've got it all on the court, right? So I apparently attacked these two men. I've got to go to court over it. I've been kidnapped by psychiatry over the same claim, and I'm being evicted from my home while in a psychiatric facility over the very same claim, accusing me of... So imagine if your landlord can just say, hey, you attacked someone, therefore I'm evicting you. Well, you need evidence, don't you?
Yeah.
You can't just evict someone like that. Well, that's what they've done. And they're justifying it by the fact that I have a court case where I have to, where it has to be decided by a judge whether it actually happened or not. It hasn't even been decided yet. And it didn't happen. I've got the whole thing on record. So here's the thing. When you're evicted from your home while you're in a psych ward, that psych ward can keep you there indefinitely because you don't have a home. They can't let you out until you have a home.
And you can't pay bond while you haven't got an income or any support. So you have to have your unit cleaned out, or your apartment, or wherever or your room, and effectively become homeless. So that's how they keep you in indefinitely, because you don't have to go to. So for the most vulnerable people in our community, for those who, for whatever reason, such as yours, the history of family violence and abuse, you don't have the luxury of going to your family home, to your mother and father, or brothers and sisters, but so they're looking like they could keep you there indefinitely. Why are you thinking of turning yourself in right now, Jeremy, and putting yourself through that again?
I'll try to explain, but I need to explain how I'm being so entrapped first. So do you understand that how the very government department, Housing New South Wales, who have been harassing me and threatening me with legal orders for 3.5 years, trying to entrap and frame me desperately alongside working with police and thugs to do this to me for 3.5 years, they evict me from my home over things I've never done. There's no evidence of it while I'm in the psych ward, so that they can keep me there indefinitely. It has been organised that once I'm successfully drugged and the doctors decide I'm right to come out, then and only then will they put me on an emergency list for a home when they're ready.
So when you're so-called stabilised,
yes,
and under their control, and no longer speaking in such a way that would arouse any sort of delusions or paranoia or whatever they're saying in regards to your awareness of the inherent corruption within establishment.
Apparently saying hello to mental illness, I think, too.
I think it's all quite ridiculous, really, but we need to, I would like to see that you stay out of that institution and don't, turn yourself in because you have nowhere else to go. That just sounds so sad.
Well, I'll explain more. So do you understand that the very housing department is now responsible for letting me out? So I can't get out of that place until the housing department decide that they can find a place for me. They're the very people who are trying to put me in there, and now they're responsible for. They're the ones I can't get out until they give me a place. You see that? Yeah,
that's a catch-22, isn't it?
Yeah.
Some of the public housing waiting lists are, quite long. I mean, over 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. They're supposedly putting me on an emergency list that can take anywhere between weeks or months. So I'll be there I would have been there for several weeks or several months longer. They actually got a legal order to keep me there for 3 months, no matter what anyway, after they made all these lies up that I was harassing and attacking and threatening people, when I wasn't. It's all just lies. And they just made up all these lies at these mental health tribunals. They just make up lies and they get granted anything they ask for. So I've explained how the very housing department who have done this to me they now have the power to keep me in a psychiatric facility and let me out whenever they damn well please. If I get out, if I was to get out one day in several months or years or whatever, when they can find me a place or choose to find me a place, I still have a court hearing to attend to where I'm accused of the same thing. You know, the same thing they're accusing me of, attacking people. So I've still got a court hearing on top of all that to deal with. Now, here's what they wanted to do. They wanted to label me insane, therefore saying, oh, he doesn't have to be liable for the charges because he was insane. That might seem like it's a mercy thing to do for me, but no, you only get to pull that stunt once. After that, you go to prison for any crime they try and put on you.
Oh, so you can play the mental card once, and after that, you can't play.
They're trying to use up my mental health card use. But there's more than that. By labeling me insane, I can't plead not guilty. Do you get it?
Oh,
I'm not even allowed to plead not guilty because they're pleading guilt by insanity. I can't even plead not guilty to the charges. Therefore, the accusation that they charged me with, that they evicted me with and took me to psychiatry is automatically judged true because guilt by insanity. Do you understand that trick?
Yeah, that's really horrible. So you're damned if you
I can't even plead not guilty.
And you should actually have the right to plead not guilty or not to issue a plea at all, and in fact ask for a jury of your peers.
Oh, you're disconnecting.
Yeah, you should be asking for a jury of your peers and pleading not guilty, you know. You got me? You there? Yeah, we were frozen for a minute, but I got you back.
It's better now. It's back.
Yeah.
So you see all these little tricks that they're doing to trap me with. Now, these are just samples of what they've been doing for 3.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I've documented and recorded all the phone calls, the harassment, everything. It's just bizarre as hell. It's unbelievable what they have done to me. So here I am speaking to you. So how am I speaking to you? I escaped with my laptop. I managed somehow to escape with my laptop. I did a runner just shortly before they were going to mega dose me with the very drugs that they're torturing me with. Now I'm in extreme pain from these drugs. I've been injected with them, so they're still in my body. They're still inflicting pain on me, and they will be for several weeks, maybe up to a month. So I managed to do a runner.
Yeah, you need to do a serious detox, like to detox your liver and your kidneys. And it's, you've got a ruddy complexion. It's obviously coming out through your skin too.
I have psoriasis and I have it really bad all throughout my body because of what they've done to me.
Well, that's all the toxic chemicals, and your skin is just trying to lose all that toxicity any way it can, which means that, your skin, whether it's your phlegm, whether it's your digestive system, tumours, toxicity in the liver and kidneys, they're all symptoms of too much psychiatric medication and 20 pills a day. It's a miracle that you're even coherent, Jeremy.
Oh, wow. So when I say that I'm really struggling, I really am. This is me at my worst. So if I was mentally unstable or insane, and a liar about what I'm saying, I would not be as coherent under these circumstances. So
that's right. You'd be a blithering, mess.
Yeah.
you're not, and you know, you're quite coherent. You're answering all my questions. You're following along. So you know, your friends have been vouching for you privately to me on Facebook and Messenger. You know, this is clearly you know, a terrible case of entrapment, and you know, trying to destroy someone's life as they've done. I mean, look at I mean, Chelsea Manning's, you know, just having her 35-year sentence commuted right now by Obama, going out. You know, so she served like 6 years now, which I'm so pleased to hear that. But what she went through, you know, years of solitary confinement and torture, like Gitmo type conditions, to the point where only a few months ago, late last year, she was driven to the brink of suicide and attempted to take her own life. Yeah.
This is now that's the same situation as with me.
Yeah.
Now, I've been extensively tortured, and I cannot let them drug and torture me under any circumstances. The pain is the worst pain of my life. I can't handle it. I can't handle the torture anymore. That's why I had to do a runner just before they drugged me again.
So, Jeremy, just a question: would there be a warrant out for your arrest, like through the psych? I
don't know. Probably. I still have a court hearing. The court hearing, the day that I did a runner, which was Wednesday, was the same day that I was supposed to go to court. So I would have been already adjourned again. So I should have an adjournment for a court hearing, but I don't know. I might have a warrant out for my arrest. But the police will be after me to take me back to psychiatry, to the psychiatric facility. The psychiatric facility will be searching for me.
So you're now a fugitive that can't give away his locale. What we really need, I guess, is some supportive people around Sydney to contact us, to contact myself or Conscious Consumer Network, the network itself, and write an email, you know, offerings of help. But essentially, Jeremy, you've become a fugitive, a psych ward escapee, you know, and a fugitive. I know they sound like really harsh words, but essentially that's how you're going to be seen now by the public, by the system. And I would like to know what sort of recourse we have, what we can do to help with this situation. Is there an ombudsman? Is there a secondary evaluation team? You're entitled to a second medical opinion. You know, all these avenues, I'm sure you've explored them and had a lot of time to think. But it's good when we have more than one head thinking about it. If any of your viewers have any ideas, you know, please write them in emails to Cissian as well. So where to from here? I mean, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. You're still under psych orders. What now?
Well, I want to make it clear that I have no criminal history whatsoever. I've never so much as had a fine in my whole life. As for vouching for my sanity and honesty, ever since 2013, when all this lies and harassment about me started, not a single person has written on my Facebook wall accusing me of liar. It's all been support and people vouching for me.
Yeah, that's what I found too, looking down your wall and also getting inboxes after offering to interview you. You know, your friends came out in support and love. There doesn't seem to be any mean people, you know, in your social network at least.
But there's no people saying, hey, don't worry about him, he's just insane or he's lying. You don't get that because I'm telling the truth and I'm not a liar. Yeah, there's so many accusations against my sanity to discredit me it's, I want to explain something. I'm someone who documented this stuff, and I went into this prepared. I could never be prepared for the pain that I suffer and that they've done to me. But I came into this knowing what might happen, and I documented everything I could, and I have a lot of files. Now, I'm not the only victim here. There are piles and piles of them, people who disappear under the table by psychiatry, whistleblowers, many of them, and no one knows that they've been taken. No one knows they've even been taken, and they suffer extreme torture and mutilation and death in psychiatric facilities in Australia. Now, I'll give you an example of how extreme this is, especially around here at Wyong and Gosford Hospitals. Now, I've been at Wyong mental health facility, at Wyong Hospital. That's where I was taken to, and that's where they will take me back to if they catch me. George Slawinski, I don't know if he's still the hospital administrator there, but he was responsible for my torture in 2014. This is the mental health administrator. He murdered his wife. He murdered a lot of his patients. He has a long criminal history, a long history of being locked up in psychiatric facilities. This man is very evil. He worked as part of a cult under I can't remember his name. There's at the Chelmsford private hospital where they kidnapped 1,000 people from the streets, from their homes. They kidnapped 1,000. This man is responsible for this kidnapping of 1,000 people in northwest Sydney. They strapped them to hospital stretchers for months at a time, strapped them down, injected them with lethal doses of barbiturates to keep them from waking up because they woke up screaming in terror. You know why? Because they were electrocuting them in the head every day for months, or having them strapped to hospital stretchers. This man was responsible for my torture in 2014. This man was, at least in 2014, the hospital administrator at Wyong Hospital Mental Facility. These are the kind of evil people. I don't even want to call them people. They're the evil creatures that I'm talking about that are doing this to me.
Can you give his name again, please?
George Slawinski.
Slawinski. Okay, thank you.
And others, the one doing it to me now is named Venkatesh, I don't know her first name, Miss Venkatesh.
And were they doing electromagnetic electrocution?
Electroconvulsive.
Electroconvulsive,
electrocution.
Yeah.
They haven't electrocuted me yet. George Slawinski tried to put a knife to my head to remove pieces of my brain. He couldn't quite get approval to get that done, but he tried to do it. This time they are attempting to drill a hole in the side of my head. They are attempting to remove a piece of my eye, saying that I have metal in my eye. It's just baseless nonsense to mutilate people.
That's unbelievable.
You see how much danger I'm in.
Yeah. This is seriously dangerous. I'm just wondering what sort of recourse, whether you go and check yourself into an embassy, like what Julian Assange did in Ecuador.
Yeah, but I can only do that in a third-party country. I can't do that within Australia because if I go into an embassy inside Australia, I'm not. If I go to a Russian embassy, for example, I'm not in Russia territory. I'm in Australia territory. The police can come and take me because I'm in my own country. If I was in a third-party country, if I was in another country and went to a third-party embassy, this country can't intrude there. You get what I mean? So I can't go to an embassy in Australia. I'd have to be overseas. You know, I can't even travel. I've got an ID. I'll show you. No, I won't show you. It doesn't matter. My driver's license expired in 2015. I can't go to get a new license or ID because I was getting kidnapped again. So I don't even have a valid ID. It's expired 2 years ago.
Oh my goodness. So you have got no...
I'm really screwed. I have no support locally because I live a very private life. I work through the internet doing anonymous things, and my friendship and support base are far away. Not much. I have friends locally, a lot of friends locally, but not none that I consider very close friends. Some of them have gone quite nuts themselves and angry about what has been done to me. They were going to go and trash the hospital. But as we said before, no one has been on my Facebook wall saying Jeremy's crazy, he's a liar. These are people who are saying, no, Jeremy's sane, he's telling the truth. I've known him and he's never been insane, and I'm horrified about what's been done to him.
And it's a systematic campaign. This is not just happening to you, but so many others. And you're a prime example of someone really, really vulnerable within the system who's just coming out to speak out about it right now. And, you know, we are yet to know your future or your fate or what's even going to happen to you in the next 24 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is really crucial that you know, timing-wise, we get your story out, but also that timing-wise, today is Friday the 20th of January. This is going to be pre-recorded whenever it's played on CCN. So, you know, it's crucial that we get you some assistance or some help, or even some, you know, friends in Sydney. If there's anyone in Sydney at the moment that's listening, if you could write to CCN and contact us and maybe get some help for Jeremy. I'm sure you've looked at the Human Rights Commission or what rights you have.
I've tried everything. I've tried every watchdog agency for 3.5 years. I've documented my every effort, and some of the videos that hopefully you'll be able to link to show how I've just contacted just before I was kidnapped again. I contacted the Ombudsman, the ICAC, a whole bunch of different organisations, and they all cover for each other. You have watchdog agencies that watch watchdog agencies that watch watchdog agencies, and the whole lot of them are corrupt. That's why we have so many watchdog agencies, because they're all corrupt. And you know, they might be not corrupt for 2 months when they get a new agency, and then 2 months later they're just useless as the rest of them. I've tried for 3.5 years. I've tried every government watchdog agency, every avenue of government I can think of, and it usually ends up in more attacks and more threats. And yeah, I have tried everything, and I'm all by myself. I'm vulnerable. I have a roof over my head tonight. I don't know about tomorrow. My psoriasis in my body's not very well. I can't survive out in the street. I wouldn't know where to begin. I can try to find a roof over my head tomorrow night. I can try. I don't know if I can. It's been raining outside too, so you know, I'll be in the rain with my hard drives getting wet in the rain. All my life's work are on these hard drives, and a lot of evidence too.
I'm just thinking out loud here, but you've obviously investigated homeless men's shelters in Sydney, around there?
I was in Sydney the other day. I don't know where to find homeless men's shelters. I may seem coherent, but I'm really in a lot of pain and I'm really struggling to focus. If I'm not familiar with something, I don't know what to do. I'm like a child in some ways, because I'm so vulnerable and I'm so stressed out, and I'm so helpless. I wouldn't know where to begin finding a homeless men's shelter. If I could find one, I'll go to one.
We'll try and get our resources together for you, Jeremy, and see what we can come up with. We'll do some Googling and make some phone calls, but if anybody could, you know, render assistance, that would be, you know, really greatly received. Now, Jeremy, obviously, you know, contacting you will be difficult too once you're out of the place where you're at the moment. Yeah. Contacting you, I mean, you know, what do we have? Email, phone numbers?
I don't have a phone. They stole my phone.
So they've stolen your phone.
My phone.
How did you get your laptop? You just took it?
I was very tricky about it. I didn't think I'd get away with it, but I was very tricky about it, and I managed to get out with my laptop and my trench coat and my laptop bag. I've got as much as I can carry with me. That's like these documents, these hard drives, my trench coat. I've got a couple of CDs in there, my laptop charger. That's about it.
Well,
My bag's
I guess in the next 24 hours, if we could maybe, keep in touch on Facebook, and see.
All I have is a laptop to communicate with.
Yep. Understand. I'm so sorry about what you're going through. This hasn't just happened to you, as we spoke about before, Jeremy. You know of other people with terrible cases of bullying and targeting as well. So this is something not just isolated to you, being one of the founders of Anonymous, but in fact other comrades as well. Yeah.
There was a girl I knew several years ago, probably about 5 years ago now. She was targeted the same way through psychiatry. She tried to report police corruption. She got kidnapped by psychiatry and drugged extensively twice. She never recovered from it, and they completely destroyed her. I tried to get her out. I tried to help her. Eventually, she didn't want my help anymore because they were punishing her for me trying to help her. So she didn't want my help anymore. I did everything I could for her to get her out. But this happens to people everywhere, and you just don't hear about it. They quietly disappear under the table, kidnapped by psychiatry in a psychiatric facility, and tortured extensively.
And then
I can't handle it.
And discredited, so that anything you say is tainted with the, oh, but he's a psych patient, he's delusional or whatever. That this is happening to someone very close to me as well, just on a personal note, that he's going through the prison system and being evaluated as a psych patient when he was whistleblowing as well. So this is actually happening to someone I know as well, currently, who's serving time in prison, and is being forcibly medicated, and not given bail and all this sort of stuff as well. And the added factor, of course, with both of you, which is quite common, is the homelessness factor. Because, you come from dysfunctional families and you don't have that support, and then you can fall into a hole like we're seeing. And, extended family obviously is not an option either. I mean, you would have tried every angle, every avenue. So where to?
I'll mention one more thing.
Yeah.
Because I've been evicted from my home, the only way I can salvage my stuff is if I stay in the facility and turn myself in. So basically, if I don't turn myself in, like within the next couple of days, I lose all my possessions, everything I own, even my personal filing cabinet of personal documents and birth certificate and all that, all gets turfed out on the street.
In a skip. So if anybody's got some storage available, that would be really, really useful right now too.
I don't feel safe to go into my home in case the police are waiting for me. I've pretty much lost my stuff. At least I have my hard drives with me, at least. I managed to salvage my hard drives. I went back and I snuck back in there and got my hard drives.
If you haven't got ID, your birth certificate's very important as well.
It's all deliberately staged like this, from every angle.
I wish there was a gem of wisdom I could offer in regards to finding a solution for this. I mean, you're a very articulate, well-researched individual who's gone through something very harrowing and unfair, completely unjust, and criminal, absolutely criminal what these, so-called medical establishments are doing. It sounds very much like the MK Ultra program from Nazi Germany, just continuing to this day with the torture and the, illegal kidnapping and enslavement of people, medical shackles as well, forcibly medicating. Yeah. And, we've seen it happen in America and I mentioned before, it's happening in the UK as well. It's happening to another friend that I have in Melbourne. So whistleblowers, we're an endangered species. We're being heavily targeted. And it's up to each and every individual to realize that, the ones that are speaking the truth, the ones that are putting their heads out there, necks on the line, are literally risking their own lives when it comes to dangerous situations like this. And, you've reached breaking point, which is what I noticed overnight on your Facebook.
Beyond breaking point. And that's why, so I should mention to what I mentioned about being suicidal. If I'm faced with being caught, I have nowhere to go. I've tried exhausted all options for 3.5 years. I've tried absolutely everything. I'm too sick to be surviving on the streets. If I live in chronic fear of being caught and tortured again, I would rather die than be tortured again. And I will not allow that. It's not negotiable ever. I will not be tortured again. That is my suicidality was what I was going to do. I was going to get a tent, a sleeping bag, and I was just going to find somewhere quiet and just stop eating and just wait to die. That's what I meant by suicide. It is not. I'm not suicidal. This is a direct connection to being imprisoned and tortured. Is it when I have no way to avoid being imprisoned and tortured, then I would give up and stop eating. That is the only condition. Should I have hope of not being imprisoned and tortured and to survive, then of course I wouldn't want to give up and stop eating. So I hope that's crystal clear. I'm not suicidal.
Yeah, because that would be another mental illness as
oh yeah, yeah, sure.
Yeah, no, this is just somebody that's at the end of their tether, absolutely,
exactly.
with no recourse and with very little resources and options. And if anybody is struggling at the moment with thoughts of suicide, I urge you, friends, family, to ring Lifeline, to actually, give Lifeline a ring and have a chat with someone or have a chat with a good friend. Just reach out, just like Jeremy has. And sometimes a problem shared can be a little bit of a weight off someone's shoulders, even if we can't provide the resources ourselves to fix every problem in our friend's world, which we would love to sincerely do, just by sharing, sharing these stories and our hearts and our experiences, we get a bigger picture about what's really happening as a response from the establishment towards whistleblowers. We've seen it as we've noted with high-profile people such as Julian Assange and Chelsea Manning, but also, let's not forget the anonymous guys. This is a guy, Jeremy Martin, who's coming out from behind his mask of anonymous to, reach out to you brothers and sisters and is asking for refuge, help, just validation.
I don't even know what to ask for. I'm at the end of my line. I'm being hunted by very bad people. I have nowhere to go. I don't know what to do. Because I've been drugged, I'm not. My intellectual capacity is crippled. I can't think my way out of this because of being drugged, and these drugs will be stuck in my system for a month before I can even begin to think clearly, and I will suffer akathisia until then. So I'm in a bad way now to be out. I can't think my way out of this. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, and you know, that's what we need to come up with. We need to come up with some practical, tangible solutions immediately so that some justice can be done here. Jeremy is your brother. Jeremy is your son. Jeremy is your neighbor. He's been one of the instrumental guys forming the very foundations of a worldwide organization, a loose organization without leaders, of course, which Anonymous has been. Coming out from behind the mask opens him up to more vulnerability, ridicule, defamation, and all that, and persecution. But what options does Jeremy have? I really don't know what the answer is, Jeremy. I just wanted to give you a platform in which you can share your story and hopefully get some answers. Also, by putting your story out there, Jeremy, it's not, they can't hide. You know, we know that Wyong Psychiatric is now, you know, corrupt from within. We know already that the court system and the psychiatric facilities are all in cahoots together with the, you know, imprisonments and false charges and false diagnostics of people such as yourself. You should have the right to some legal aid, you know, some legal advice, some
I've tried legal aid too and refused.
Yeah, you have a right to a second medical opinion. I think should be blood tested and your dosage completely reviewed. I mean, thrown out on the scrap heap is what I would like to see, because I'm not even seeing any mental illness except just general PTSD from what you've been through.
I would gladly submit myself to extensive psychological assessment, gladly, but not imprisonment, not drugging, and not psychiatry. I am very confident that a proper psychological assessment will grant me clean of any mental illness.
And it would be important for you to maintain all your records and also start compiling a victim impact statement so that you can sue these people or these institutions at some time in the future when you're feeling strong enough. First things first, though, is to get you some help immediately. So we'll try and do that from our end, Jeremy. You know, and if anybody wants to help, you're very welcome to write to CCN. Now, CCN has got its own. I'm just going to look it up here. I'll just give you Biggie's, and then Biggie can filter the. Okay, so that's Biggie Boho, BIGGIBOHO at unseen.is. If anybody wants to email us here at CCN and offer any solutions or be a contact point in any way. So is there anything else that you'd like to share today, Jeremy, that you wish to tell viewers and share your experience and what's going on for you and what your immediate needs are and how we can help in any other way that I haven't thought of?
There's probably a million things I can think of, but I'm in so much pain and stress and fear of being caught and tortured again. I'm intellectually disabled from these drugs. I feel helpless, totally helpless.
So perhaps I'll message your friend Chase, your friend of 10 years who vouched for your sanity, and get someone like him to set up some sort of crowdfunding so that we can set up a little help account for you, just to give you some money, whether that's for transport or accommodation or motels while you're on the run, while you're getting medical second opinions and perhaps some legal aid, I think a crowdfunding would be really good for you. So I'll attach that to the article as well once I have a chat to Chase, who's on the outside, and one of your dear friends from America. So I understand what you're saying about, feeling helpless and vulnerable, but what we wish to do here is empower you, help you keep going, inspire you, give you options, give you contacts and network so that you're not so alone. Because I'm currently 2 states away from you, and your story, motivates me, motivates the mother hen in me to go into rescue mode, which I'm very known to do. So if anybody else is from Sydney or north of Sydney, around Gosford even, can help in any way, we'd really appreciate that. I'm really sorry this is happening to you, Jeremy. I know you're not alone in this, and that man from Wyong Psych just sounds like he's just been pulled out from Project Paperclip and pretty much reinstated here in Australia for his MK Ultra torture and mind control techniques, reprogramming the whistleblowers. Hopefully we'll see the end of it. I don't want you to lose your life because of this. I want you to keep going, and I want you to feel supported by your peers, by people who do care enough to listen to this show and do care enough to perhaps, lend a helping hand in some way. So I'll get Chase to set up the account. If you could have a look on the YouTube link or on the article on ccn.media for the crowdfunding link. And also, if you want to friend Jeremy Martin on Facebook, hopefully you've got at least one mutual friend that can vouch for you so that he'll add you, because we're certainly not accepting any, people from the establishment. I really wish you all the best, Jeremy. We will keep in touch and follow on with your story. If we do not hear from you in the next 24 to 48 hours, I'm sure there'll be your supporters standing at the front of the psych hospital doing a protest, because I saw that was suggested on your wall. So we'll gather some supporters there and maybe get some local media presence preferably, or even if we can just, stream it through Facebook on our phones or something, There's many ways of getting around this. We just have to, put our heads together, brothers and sisters, and come up with solutions. I certainly don't have all the solutions, but I think crowdfunding, at least as a start, at least might, buy you a few more days. And if somebody could be in touch with you and perhaps go to your apartment and take some essential items, would be really good too. Certainly won't be looking for anyone in a Guy Fawkes mask real soon around your place, but somebody, who can just blend in and be part of the building. Is it a share house? Is it an apartment complex?
It's a unit complex.
Unit complex, okay. Yeah. So fingers crossed that justice is done here and that these ridiculous psychiatric evaluations and this forced medication, is alleviated soon. I mean, it shows on your skin, Jeremy, the exhaustion and pain you must be feeling, and the sadness you must be feeling must be, I can see the toll it's taken on you, and which is why it spurred me, to have you share your story somewhere. This story will come out as soon as I can get the producer to assemble it and put it up. So thank you very much for your time. Is there anything else that you wanted to share at the moment?
I had something to say. I can't remember what I was going to say. I'm just so, I've, a part of what these drugs do is they cause insomnia. I'm so exhausted that I've had 4 hours sleep in 5 days. So that's just an idea of how much I'm struggling here. But I've tried to hold it together the best I can, and the fact that I have been able to hold it together the way as much as I have should vouch for my credibility.
And your strength. Yeah, absolutely. Most people would be delirious and hallucinating with that amount of sleep. So try and get some rest, Jeremy. Nobody knows where you are at the moment. Nobody will know. This Zoom meeting is a protected site as well, so it can't be traced very easily anyway. So yeah, so just try and rest up and let us, the ones that do benefit from your hard work at Anonymous, the ones that do respect you and believe in you, let your friends and supporters put our thinking caps together now. You've done enough. You just need to rest now and start healing. And hopefully with some, second medical opinions, perhaps a trip to the GP that can get you to a psychologist. Everybody's entitled to a few mental health sessions every year that's publicly sponsored. So you're also entitled to that. And with that, you might just get the reprieve that you need for this targeting. Very, very unfair. I hope and pray that your ordeal ends soon in the most positive way, for you, so that you can have a positive, healthy, long life and a positive future, one in which doesn't involve this heaviness that you've had, not only in recent years, but also, unfortunately, from a broken childhood as well. Thank you so much, Jeremy, for sharing your story and being so brave and coming on CCN here today. As I said, we'll have some links up for you in the article so that people can help, and keep in touch however you can. Obviously, social media is an easy way. Keep in touch and let us know when you can how you're going. I presume that social networking in a psych ward is not allowed, or is it?
No, they stole my phone. I don't even have access to a phone. I can't get a phone because unless I can find a burner phone. But if someone wants to give me or tell me a burner phone, but otherwise I've got no phone. All I have is a laptop and Wi-Fi wherever I can get it. That's all I've got. My laptop blows on.
Yeah, to say that you've hit rock bottom is an understatement, but hopefully we can get, it's all up from here now. We just need to focus on you detoxing and resting and hydrating yourself and taking good care, and perhaps and at least having one trusted person in your immediate vicinity that can assist you with things like communication, transport and accommodation. So I really pray that we can achieve that with this interview, at least give you a bit of a leg up. So I do wish you all the best, Jeremy, sincerely, and I ask anybody who's watching this broadcast to please help out any way you can. Look up Jeremy Martin on Facebook as well, and look at his story, and the background videos will be on the article too. So thank you so much for your time, Jeremy. I really hope things work out for you. And keep in touch however you can, whenever you can. through whoever you can. Okay? Yeah. If anyone's able to help, would be really much appreciated now. So a bit of a solemn interview today. And thank you so much, friends, for viewing and for your support and compassion. Please support free and independent media. It's volunteer journalists such as Jeremy and myself who work for no pay that are trying to make a difference in this world without any censorship, without any corporate sponsorship that we have to curtail to. We are the free thinkers and free speakers that are there for you. We are the canaries in the coal mine. If something happens to the alternative media, if something happens to the whistleblowers, who is going to speak for you? Because don't ever doubt that they'll go through sections of society and subcultures and certain people, and just like they are targeting the bikers with the Vlad laws, this is not going to stop until we get together. And that's what Anonymous's philosophy is all about, isn't it? That we don't give up, that, we stay staunch, and that's what we've got to do now. You've stayed staunch for so long, Jeremy. Your strength is amazing, and it's totally understandable that you felt like you're at breaking point. So let's get you healed and detoxed, and let's get some avenues looked at, such as the GP psych analysis from a second opinion. Everybody's entitled to a second medical opinion, not just within that institution, but outside of it as well. You shouldn't be a prisoner in your own country, involuntarily admitted for speaking the truth, for being who you are. So we are all anonymous, and we are all in one big legion, and we are all one big family. And if one of us suffers, it drags the rest of us down. Don't let this happen, and don't let it continue. And if somebody like Jeremy comes out bravely like this, speaks out, support, understand, in any way you can, share his story, because it's really the story of all of us, So thank you again for your time, Jeremy. I wish you all the best with your campaign of freedom. I wish there was something more physically that I could do for you, but we really need some locals in the New South Wales area. If anyone could be in touch, that'd be great. So we'll see you again next week for another edition of We Are the Ones We've Been Waiting For. I'm your hostess, Eilish Diavalon, and see you again soon. Thank you and goodbye.
If we want to change the world, we must first change the media. Mainstream media exists for the purposes of indoctrination and manipulation of public perception. The world of free and independent media is growing, and with the upsurge in information now available in the public domain, it has never been easier to access free and independent media. The exploration of this information resulted in an experimental project which would provide a fully supported space for researchers, whistleblowers, and seekers of all kinds to express themselves and educate the world. On the 1st of January 2015, Conscious Consumer Network was launched to the world. Nobody thought we would make it this far, but CCN is the longest running free and independent media network of its kind. CCN is a unique collaboration of hearts and souls, bringing you information from different perspectives to educate and inform. Since we started CCN, we have had only one desire: the pursuit of a free, fair, just, sustainable world, and this has not changed. Having overcome many challenges over the last 2 years, CCN is here to stay, and we've got great things lined up for 2017. Help keep CCN on the air by supporting the 2017 Network Support Fund.